Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to make a video that is for anyone who is clueless about Apple Vision Pro development. I'm sure you've watched other tutorials at this point and they all feel like the expectation is for you to have been an iOS developer before watching their video. The point of this video is to get you up and started quickly and give you a very high level understanding of what is happening in the starter project. This way you can go on to other more complex tutorials and easily follow what they're showing you and learn all the proper terminology and things. So now we got that out the way, let's go ahead and get started and try and knock this out quick. So the first thing you want to do is go to the App Store app and download Xcode. So once you download this, it is a few gigs. Open it for the first time and there may be some updates. So go ahead and download those updates as well, which could be a few gigs as well. And then once you have that ready to go, you'll be able to do create new project. So when you get here, it should default to multi-platform or iOS. Make sure you click on Vision OS. Click on app, and you may see a banner appear in the top letting you know to download the simulator. Go ahead and click the download. It's going to download a few more gigs of things you need to get this going, which is the simulator so you can test your product. If you go to iOS, I would recommend going ahead and clicking the download button here as well for that simulator. That way they're both kind of working in the background. Right, so once you do that, go ahead and click next. So your next step is to create your project. So we're going to give it a name. Let's call it Tutorial AVP 1. And call it whatever you want. If you have a developer account, go ahead and pick it. If you don't, just leave the team set to none. For organization identifier, the easiest way to understand this is it's a website in reverse. So apple.com, google.com, you just put com.apple, com.google. So whatever your company name is, and if you're watching this, you probably don't have one yet. So put in com.tutorial or test. We'll just put test. And now put your app name, right? So whatever you want to call this. We're going to call this Tutorial AVP 1. So next you want to go to initial space, make sure it's set to window, immersive space set to reality kit, and immersive space set to immersive space renderer set to reality kit, and then immersive space set to mixed. And what I like to do is with my product names, I like to put dash mixed at the end. And the reason I do this is there's two other versions you can do. So the full will give you different things compared to the progressive, compared to the mix. So as you're testing these different things out, just put at the end what type you selected, and that'll save you a headache of remembering which one you tried and which project is which. So in this case, we have mixed. So our project name is Tutorial AVP1 mixed. The team is none. Our organization is com.test.tutorial AVP1. The initial scene is window. Immersive space renderer is reality kit. Immersive space is mixed, and the include test is not checked. So then you're going to go ahead and click next again, and it should create your project for you. So now your project has been created. We're going to look at the left side of the screen here, and you'll see the project navigator. We're going to make sure that's selected. You'll see all your content here on the left. We're going to go from top down and explain very high level what's happening here. So you have your project folder. The first thing you need is go to the first entry, and you should be your project name with the word app at the end. This is where everything starts. Now when the project loaded, they put you on the content view. We will come back to this, but here is where things begin, right? So essentially, we are making a new SwiftUI project. Here's our app main where things begin. Here is our project name with the app at the end, and here's our app beginning. And the app begins with the body. So the first thing that happens is there is a body scene that's taking place, and there is a window group. Whatever you put in this space is what will launch when the app begins. There are other things you can do here, but again, this is very high level. We're just trying to get you up and running and explaining what's happening. So what we're looking at here is we have a window group that starts by default, and the first thing that happens in this group is it launches the content view file, right? So if we look for this in our tree here, boom, there's content view. So let's click on that, and we're going to go through this file. It looks like a lot, but it really is not, and we'll explain this in a second. But the last thing we need to make sense of is why is this here? Essentially what's happening is anything that's below this window group here, this default scene, you're just defining other scenes, other windows, other things. So in this case, we have an immersive space with an ID of immersive space with a capital S and a capital I. When this ID gets called or gets requested, what is he supposed to show or supposed to do? He is going to show this view called Immersive View. Where is that file? Right here. So that's what's happening. When you have this app that you created, that's created for you, it provides you two free views, two free files to get you up and running. Here's our starter, and then here's the first definition. So let's go into the content view. So now we're in our content view file. Let's start from the top, and again, very high level, what is happening here? So we're defining things we need, our Swift UI. There is some 3D things happening and immersive things happening. So we have our reality kit content taking place here. We imported those. This is a view. We have some things that we'll use for state to keep track of things. Our show immersive space boolean, our immersive space is shown flag. So all these will be kind of used later in the project. Some environment variables that we'll look at. And what's really taking place is right here. So we get to body. It starts with the view, right? We have a V stack. From a very high level, this just means stack things on top of each other. I don't want to define who's next to who and who's above who. Just go from top to bottom and stack them one above the other. So we have a model 3D. If you look here at the preview, there's a model of like a globe looking thing here, right? If we go next, we see text, hello world. We can change this text to whatever we want. So like applesauce, right? And we'll get rid of hello world. And now if your preview's on, you'll see. If you don't worry. This is nothing special, right? So we put applesauce, that's there. Next thing we have a toggle. So we have the toggle switch here. When I click it, it'll make something happen right here in the preview. You can't see. For this toggle, it's called show immersive space. Let's put show immersive space applesauce, right? And now again, here's that flag that we defined up here at the top. So is it turned on or turned off? And that gets used later on. The font size, these are all just basic details to what's happening. We're padding the window, nothing special here. Now a task is taking place, and this is where we're going to show an immersive space. So we go down, and here we have a wait for open immersive space. So anytime you do a task, you want to wait for the task to finish before you move on to the next task. So you await, and then you open an immersive space with an ID of immersive space, and that moves through here. So now we go back to the app file here, and you can see immersive space. Here's our ID for immersive space. Where does it get used? Right here in content view, right there. So what this is saying is you've defined an immersive space for me, and when I need to use it, I have to refer to it by this ID, immersive space, capital I, capital S. If I come back here and I put a capital A at the end, I come back here. If I do not put this capital A at the end, it will not work because it will not be able to find the immersive space that we defined. That's all that's happening, right? So when it opens, set the flag to true. Here, just error trapping. When it's done, set it to false. And that is essentially everything that's happening here. The last thing you'll see on screen is this preview. If I highlight this and just delete it, the preview goes away. If I press Command Z and undo, the preview comes back. This is just an assistant. So if this preview is getting your nerves, see how it's kind of acting weird. It's bouncing all around. It's fine. It's doing what it wants to do. You could just comment this out. Put // and now it's gone. Comment these 3 lines out. Do what you do here, and you're good to go. So now let's look at our next file. We have our immersive view, right? So we click on that, and what's happening here? So again, we have a Swift UI import, reality kit content. So we know we're doing something with 3D and 3D, augmented reality things because we have, or virtual reality, so we have our reality kit imported. We have the name, our body, our view, and this is a reality view compared to a VStack, right? So in this case, we're doing a reality view, and the content we plan to show is a scene, and the scene is named immersive. So here we're saying await, so running a task, so wait for the scene to get created, because if depending how fancy you make your scene, if you use really nice 3D models, really nice images, that takes longer to load. So you have to wait for that to finish loading, put that in the scene, and then present that to the user. So make sure you're aware of that as you're creating things. You don't want it too ugly or too bland because then it won't look good. But you have to watch out for the polish because it can take a long time to load if there's too many things in your 3D models, right? So that's what's happening here. And now it's a good time to start diving into why do we have this immersive here? And when we go back to our content view, what is happening with these IDs? So we're going to leave it on immersive view, so stay here. And again, we have our preview at the bottom. So if you don't want this, just comment this out. And now it's gone, right? So we're going to move down to where it says packages right here on the left. So I'm going to use my arrow keys. I'm going to press down. I'm going to press right. I'm going to go down to sources. I'm going to press right. I'm going to go down to reality kit content, press right. Go down to reality kit content, press right. And now we have some things here that we need to see. So when I go back to immersive view, I see the scene on line 16 is called immersive, right? Where did that name come from? It comes from right here. The project comes with two free scenes, one called scene with a capital S and one called immersive. So we know where immersive is getting used. Where is scene getting used? So we know we only have 3 files. It's not in the app file because I don't see it in here. It has to be in content view. So let's start from the top. We go to the body, the view, the VStack, the model 3D, and it's named scene. So right here. So we're telling this, when you load, present a model. So I'm going to turn the preview back on just to show you what's happening here. So here is the preview loading up, right? And here is scene. So what if, instead of scene, right, I'm going to take this line, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it right above it. I'm going to comment this out. So what if I come over here and I change this to immersive with a capital I? I-M-M, capital I. And then I save this. And I don't even have to save. You can see the globe turned into 2 globes now. So if I comment this line out and then uncomment scene, the single globe comes back. So you can see if you bounce back and forth, this is how the scenes get loaded. And this works the same in your immersive view. So if you go to immersive view, we come down here, I'm going to turn the preview back on. So I'm delete these slashes here. And now what am I saying? I'm telling this to load a scene. So I'm going to copy line 16. I'm going to paste it right above. And I'm going to comment out line 17. Perfect. So now when I go to 16, I see immersive here. What scenes do I have in my list? I have immersive and scene. I'm going to type in scene with a capital S. And now we've changed which scene will appear when the user clicks the toggle. And you don't see it here, and I'm going to explain why in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and comment line 16 out and put immersive back. And now there's the 2 globes in space. So what have we gone over? We've covered what comes to the project. Here's your app file, and here's how things get started. We know that content view loads first because it's in the window group here, right? So content view, we know that he loads a 3D scene. He starts with the default of scene. We changed ours to immersive. We can put whatever we want. And then here we have some basic text right below it. We have a toggle switch right below it. On the change of this toggle switch, so when you click the toggle, it opens a scene, right? So here we open immersive space A. And where's immersive space A defined? Right back here in our app file, right? So right there is immersive space A. When he gets called, when this ID gets asked for, he's going to present immersive view. When we click on that file, here it is, the immersive view file, and it's going to load a scene. The scene it's going to load is immersive or scene, whichever one you have commented out, that's the one it's going to load. So now we can do is we can run our project. So you're going to go to the top of your scene. So if you click play, you may get an error, you may not. What you want to do is you'll see the play button, your project title again, and then kind of a blank space here. Click on this. And here's where you pick your devices. So if you have an actual physical AVP, it would be, you could add it and list it right here and click on it here. We're using the simulator and we already downloaded it. So we will click it right here. And now we can click play. And it will take a minute to run and load. You can see it building and do what it needs to do up here on the top right. And it'll do what it needs to do to start your simulator. If you have your volume turned up, you'll hear the Vision Pro turn on and it'll do what it needs to do. So I'm going to switch apps here and I'm going to come to my simulator and you can see the app is started. The Vision Pro is loaded and you can see the scene that we created, right? So my scene may look different than yours. On the very top right, there's like 2 little mountain icons. If you click on that, you can decide what you want this to look like. Do you want it daytime or nighttime? Do you want a larger room or do you want a smaller room? Do you want a kitchen? You can define wherever you want your space to take place. So for this, I'm going to be in the larger museum during the daytime, just for the sake of this demo. So now we have everything working. I can see here the show immersive space applesauce. When I click on this checkbox here, the 2 globes appear as we asked it to. So it's loading the immersive space scene or the immersive scene. When I click this, it turns that scene off. And here we have our starter scenes. Let's go back to content view. And I'm going to comment out line 22 where it says to load model 3D immersive, I'm going to put back the default of scene, and then I run it again. It's going to build, and now here is scene running in the middle. I click show immersive or toggle the space, and now here's the immersive scene, and here's the stock scene running at the same time. If I go to Immersive View, again, if I comment out line 16 and line 17, I switch that out. So now scene is activated and immersive is deactivated and commented out. I run it again. So now I see scene, which is what I asked for in the content view. When I check this box, it loads and it runs the immersive view. So when I check this box, it runs it. So we're wondering, did it work? Where's it at? If I hold control and I drag the screen, I can look around. And there, right at your feet, is the scene. And I'm about to show you why. So again, we're going to go back to content view. Here I have scene that's loading in the beginning. I'm going to change this to immersive. So I have immersive, I have scene. I'm going to leave the immersive view. I want him to start with scene and comment out immersive. I'm going to hit run or the play button. And if your screen is looking down, on the very bottom right, you'll see a camera with like a back arrow. Click on that. That'll reset your camera to look up. So now I can see I have immersive scene loaded, which is 2 globes. There's nothing in the middle. When I click the checkbox, it looks like nothing happened. But again, if you hold control on your Mac and drag the screen down, it's right there at your feet. Why is that? We're going to explain it right now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make our own scene that we want to present on screen and figure out why this globe is appearing right here in the middle by your feet. So when you come back to your Xcode, we are done with the top. We're going to look down in packages, reality kit content, down sources, all the way down here where your scenes live. Now I'm going to click on this. I need to show you something. So here's what matters. This .usda as an alpha. When you're using a scene, each scene ends with a dot. These are just files. So immersive.usda, scene.usda, right? So here are your files. Your view should look like mine. You should see here, open in Reality Kit Composer. If you do not, I'm going to show you how to make this appear. So I'm going to hide this because there's some steps here that can make it a little confusing. So there we go. If yours looks like this and you just see text, you have the left and right arrows selected on the top right. So if you turn that off, nothing happened, right? Click away, click back, and now it comes back. I don't know if it's a bug in Xcode, I don't know what that is, but it will do that. If you have the preview turned on, so I'll hit these again, turn it off, nothing happens. I click away, click back. So that's all you have to do is just make sure that the left and right arrow is turned off, and that will present this screen to you, right? So now each scene, there's a button here that says Open in Reality Kit Composer. We're going to open this one. So when I click that button, it's going to launch another program that's built into Xcode. And here, if you've ever used anything like Unity or Unreal, it's very similar to that, right? You're just in a gaming engine, essentially, defining and creating your own scene in your own game. So here, if you look at the bottom in the project browser right here, you'll also notice immersive.usda. Wait, that's right here. So everything in this Reality Kit content folder will appear in this folder. Immersive, immersive.usda. Materials, materials. Scene, scene.usda. So everything you need is right here. So I'm going to double click scene also. So now I have 2 open, but where'd the first one go? They're right here in the top left. So immersive scene is a tab and scene is a tab. So now you have both. So what we want to do is click on immersive, click on file, duplicate, give it a name. Now this name matters. Whatever you type in, it's case sensitive. So we're going to call it test1 with a capital T. 1, hit save. And now if you look in your project browser, you'll see an immersive USDA, a scene USDA, and a test1 USDA. Double click on test1, and now it's right here in the top left with the others. Immersive, scene, test1. So here we're going to right click on the sphere left. We're going to say duplicate. And now you have 2 sphere lefts, a sphere left and a sphere left 1. Click on the left 1, and we're going to change his X from a -50 to 0. So we have 0, 150, -150, right? Next, you're going to hit File and hit Save. Remember, anytime you change things in here, this does not save automatically. When you run the project, it does not save automatically. So you have to save this. This is its own separate application that's working with Xcode. So we go back to Xcode. We're going to go to our content view. And here we have some scenes, model 3Ds commented out, right? So let's copy line 22 and paste it. We're going to comment out 23. And now what did we call this? If you forget how you spelled it or what you call it, it's right here on the left. So you have immersive, he's right there. We have scene, he's right there. Test one. Test one, and just run it. So now, give it a second. It's building up here in the top right. It's loading. Now, if your project is looking down, remember on the bottom right-hand side, there's a camera with the back arrow. Click on that. Now your camera has focus, so perfect. What do we see here? We see 3 globes. Now why do we see 3 globes? Because if we go back to Reality Composer, that's what we created here. If I click on the scenes, so I have immersive with 2 globes. I have test 1 with 3 globes. And I have scene with 1 globe. So 1, 2, and 3. So when I come back here to my simulator, if I click the checkbox here, turn it back off. If I click it and I look down, hold control and look down, drag screen down, there's scene down there in the bottom, right? Well, let's fix that also. So let's come in here. Let's go to the Immersive View file. We're going to copy line 16 and paste it. We're going to comment out line 17 and we're going to change this again. These are all just scene names. Where are our scenes? Right here on the left. So we have immersive right there. We have scene right there, test 1. Let's type in test 1. Let's run it again. Again, our camera's looking down on the bottom right. I'm going to click the camera with the back arrow to focus. So now I see 3 globes here, but this is coming from the content view because he loaded. When I check this box, Immersive View loads. I check the box. Now there's 3 globes. So from a very high level, what did you learn? This is how you create new scenes, add scenes to the view of the user and put it in your project and make use of them. How you use the Reality Composer Pro to either make your own new scenes or customize different scenes. And this is how you can do whatever you want to do. And the project comes with 2 free scenes. It comes with scene right here and immersive. So these you can modify and change. And again, we discussed why did scene appear by your feet. That's because the position is 0, 0, which the user wearing the headset is always at position 0, 0. So when you look down, that's where you'll see it. When it comes to immersive and immersive test 1, if I click on root, I can see root is at position 0, 0, 0. So he is where your feet are, and we're telling these different spheres to appear further away from the user. I want this to be, 50 centimeters away and 150, so on and so forth. You could define how high, how low, to the left, to the right. Here's test 1. So when I click on sphere left 1, I'm going to move this. So we have our X, so I want it to be in the middle, but I want it to be a little lower than the other one. So I'm going to go to my Y. Instead of 150 height, I'm going to put this to 50. I'm going to press enter, and now I can see I have 0 for the center, 50 for the height, negative 150 pushes it away from me, away from 0, 0, where I'm standing here. It's in my line of sight now, not at my feet. I'm going to click on File, click on Save. I'm going to come back to my project. I'm going to go to my content view. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the scene back to immersive. So I'm going to turn off test 1. I'm going to comment that out. I'm going to turn on immersive. I'm going to go to my immersive view. I'm going to make sure that test 1 is turned on and that the other scenes are turned off. And again, if you forget the name of your scene, it's right here on the left. I have immersive that I used here, immersive. I have scene, scene, test 1 for our scene. When I go to the content view, this is a 3D model, right? So model 3D, what is the name of it? Immersive or scene or test 1, right? So perfect. We're going to start with immersive and we're going to show test 1. Let's run it. Project loads, perfect. We have immersive where he has 2 globes, right? When I check the box, I have my scene, so I have my first 2 up top, and again, the middle one, I moved him lower in the scene. He's right there in the bottom, 50 spaces off the floor. The last thing I want to cover is how to open another window from this current project. That was something I was working on that took me a while to figure out how to just launch a separate window or launch multiple windows, right? So let's dive into how this works. So the first thing we're going to do is go to our left. We have our app file, right? Right above that is our folder. So right click on that. We're going to say new file. We're going to select Vision OS, Swift file, click on next, and name this text view, right? So text view 1. So text view 1, I'm going to click create. And now we have a new file in our list. We have text view 1. When I click on this file, you can see there's nothing in here, right? So to make things easier, we're going to come back to our content view. Let's just copy and paste all of this. So copy all of this all the way down. Right click, copy it, and copy. Go to your text view. Erase the import foundation, erase all that, and then paste. So now right click, paste. Now we have everything from the other comp view in this view, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Reality Kit. We're not going to use this, so let's delete that line. Reality Kit content, we're not going to do that, delete that line. We're going to go down to structure. So here, the struct is content view. We already have a file named content view. We're going to call this text view 1. So erase this, put text view 1. This will be a view, which is perfect. We don't need the state variables. We're going to get rid of those. Next, we have 2 environment variables. We do not need them right now, so we're going to delete open immersive space. We're going to delete dismiss immersive space. We have our body, which is a view, right? We have our view stack, and we're going to use the V stack. We're just going to stack some things on top of here. So we're going to get rid of these model 3Ds, delete all of this. So we start with text, and we're going to say, welcome to text view 1. Delete everything else. The toggle switch, we don't need that. Delete all of that. We can add another text box, right? So let's put another text. Text, I think you will like this. And then we're going to start deleting things. Get rid of the padding. We don't need it. The on change, go all the way down, delete that line. The task, delete it. The if, the switch, the case, all these things here we're going to delete. The else, the if, delete all that. The bracket, delete all that. And when you're done, it should look like this. You should have structure or struct, text view 1 view, our var body sum view, a V stack with a text, welcome to text view 1, another text right below it, I think you will like this, and 3 closing brackets, 3 of them, right? Your preview is here. You can keep it or get rid of it. It's up to you. Well, we can change this. It says content view, right? Let's change this to text view 1. So now we referenced our name, we preview the name down here, and everything else is the same. So now we have this created. How do we access it? How can we do something with this? Well, since we have this view, we go back to our app file. So our project app file, we have our window group with the content view that loads the project. We have our immersive space. Now we need to define this new window. So we're going to come down under immersive space. We're going to add another window group, right? And this window group here needs an ID. So what's the ID for this? We'll call it text view 1, and it is case sensitive. Spell it however you want, but it's case sensitive. When this ID gets called, I want the text view 1, open close paren. I want this file to run essentially, right? So we have that here. So you saw the error I was getting there on the right hand side. If you find yourself getting any errors when you add this file, just close your Xcode and reopen it. Do a file save, close your Xcode, reopen it. When you do that, it'll kind of clean the project and get itself back together. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use this file. So we have it here under text view 1. What if we comment out this line 14, where it says content view in our starter window group. We press enter and we put text view 1 here and open close paren. So now we're telling the project, don't start with content view, start with text view 1. Run your project. You get a build succeeded. When your project loads, there. Welcome to text view 1. I think you will like this. So you can put what any view you want to be your starter view in your project. The project comes with content view as your starting point, but you don't have to start there, right? So we're going to comment this line back out. We're going to turn content view back on. So now let's use this text view 1. So let's go to our content view. Here we have some environment variables. We're going to add another one. So we're going to come over here. We're going to put @ environment. We're going to open the bracket here, close it, put a dot, and we're going to call this open lowercase with a capital W window, right? Var open window. So now we have that added. Let's come down here where it says text applesauce, press enter, and put a button. So button. We're going to, the words we want to hear, we can add the text that says, you know, show text view. Okay, put a paren, press enter, and now we're going to use that open window. So open window, give it an ID, and we're going to put some quotes here. So now what window do we want to open? If we come back to our app file here, it's called text with a lowercase t and a lowercase v, text view 1. So I come back to content view and I say text view 1. And make sure it's in your quotes there. And now if I click run, the project started with which view? The content view, applesauce, show text view. I click it, and there's our text view window. You're thinking, well, what happens to the old window? With the Vision Pro, there's only really two ways to move windows. Essentially, there's the close button, the window drag button, and there's a reshaper on the side here, right? So let's use the window drag in the middle and just click and drag that wherever you want it to be. So there's our content view. Here's our text view, and I can click the button again. We get another text view. I'm gonna drag it to the top right here. I'm gonna click it again. I'm at another one, put it on the bottom left. I'm gonna click it again. Put another one, put it on the bottom right, and if I check this box here, I have an immersive space. So you can do all types of things with this experience, right? You can add all the different windows and views that you want. The only catch that I've seen when it comes to this is, if I close this starter window, these are still open. So I'm gonna close these out one by one, right? So I'm gonna hold control and look down here. I'm gonna close you, come over here, I'm gonna close you, but these three are still running. So if I click on home and I find my app and I run it again, you'll see that the starter window did not start. The Vision OS will remember, it holds the app in memory, and it will remember the last window that was open. So I can't do anything with this. I can't launch. If my content view is my starter project, I couldn't do anything from here, right? So I'm going to show you how to fix that. So what you want to do is come back to your project. We're going to go to text view 1. And right here where you have your text, your other text, we're going to add a button right below this text. So press enter. We're going to put button, and we're going to name this exit app. What do I want to happen when you exit the app? I want you to exit with a 0. So when I run the app again, I see my window here. I hit show new. I see my new window. I'm gonna do it again. So now I have 3 windows here. I have the starter window that I'm gonna close. I have the first window I'm going to close, and I have the second window I'm going to close. I see my apps. When I reopen the app, there's the third window. No problem. Click on exit app. When I click the app again, now it loads fresh. So again, this is just to get you started. As you get more and more familiar with Vision OS and iOS, all the different OSs, you'll get familiar with how to interact with these things and kill your app the proper way and different things. I'm just trying to help you get started quick and move on, right? So this is, when you start opening these other windows, here is how you can start and stop and kill the app without any issues. And the last thing we can do is we can take this button, we'll just copy these 3 lines. So button, open bracket, close bracket, copy that, go to your content view, and right here below your button, press enter. You can paste it, type it in or paste it, whatever you want to do. And again, run your app. And the whole purpose of this, as you're learning, you always have a way to start fresh. I hit exit, it killed my app. If I hit show text view, it's right there. When I move this up, if I again close the starter window, if I hit exit app, when I run the app again, the starter window comes up, and actually you get multiple starter windows, right? So you'll see little weird things happening like that, but you'll learn along the way how Vision OS works and what you need to do to make your project successful. So we have our scene here, and I want to show you one more thing, and that's how to add files to your scene, right? Or add objects. So Here, remember, our scenes end with a USDA, so right, so .USD alpha. If you go to a website, for example, like Sketchfab has tons of free and paid for assets that people make and design and all these different things you can use, right? So you make an account with them, look for free. It does take a while to find free things. So you want to pay for something, just pay for something. When you download that file, it'll look like this, a USDZ. So the apple is your scene, the zebra is your file that actually runs in the scene. So here we have 3 USDAs, 3 scenes. We have 1 USDZ. Where's the Z at? Right there, DZ. I'm going to take this, I'm going to drag this onto our scene right there. And now the car is here, right? So we're going to go to File and go to Save. If I run the project again, when I click Show Immersive Space, there is my car. And you can see the car is huge. And I kind of pinch here on my trackpad, it's a huge car. So when I come back to my scenes, I go back to Reality Composer Pro. I'm going to take this car and I'm going to scale it. So I look at the globe here, its scale is 1, 1, 1, which is perfect. But this model, I didn't create this, someone else did. So different people make different models, different sizes, you never know. So here the scale is 0.01. Let's make it 0.01. So 0.001. So when I type it in the X, if I tab over, it does the Y and the Z for me automatically. Go to File, go to Save. When I run it again, when I click the checkbox, if I look down, I don't see the car. If I look up, I don't see it. Where did the car go? So let's go back to Reality Composer. Let's see what we have here. So the position, when I look at my left sphere, he is a 0, 50, negative 150. Let's copy that. So let's go to here. We're going to put our X position as 0. Our Y, I believe it was 50. Let's check. Yes, 50. And then the Z is negative 150. So put that at negative 150. And the scale this time, instead of 0.001, it's 0.005. Hit tab. Perfect. So I have 0, 50, negative, not 1500, negative 150, 000, scale 0.005 down. All right, file and save it. Run the project again. I'm going to click my camera here to zoom it. So right in the bottom right, camera back. And I'm going to run the app one more time here. Perfect. Now it's in the middle of the screen. I can see everything. I'm going to check the box. And there is the car. So I have my 3 orbs, one here on the side, one there, one's kind of in the middle of the car. And there is the car in my scene, right? And I can walk around this. Once you start learning the simulator, you can move and walk around. You can see it fully there where I placed it. So just a little kind of bonus to show you how you can add 3D models outside of what comes with the builder. You can download your own different models and load them into the project. Just remember that when you're looking at the left-hand side here, I see my immersive, I see my scene, I see my other scene, and then I see the 3D models. And some will show, some won't, depending on how complex they are. But when you click on the name, if you go all the way to the right, if there's a Z, that is a model. When you click on this name, if you go all the way to the right, if there's an A, that's a scene. So when it comes to using these files, I wouldn't put the Toyota wagon in here because it's not a scene, right? That is a model inside of the scene. So test 1 is the scene, and this Toyota runs inside that scene. When I come to the content view, kind of the same difference, right? So let's kind of do a test here and see if I copy this line, paste it, I'm gonna comment this out. All right, take this off. Instead of test 1, I'm going to just click on this name here. I'm going to copy this. Go to content view, and this is a model 3D. Let's see if it likes it. We'll run that and see what happens. So now you can see, given this was a model 3D, right? So 3D model is what we're using. When I ran that, it's there. It's just so big you can't see it on screen. And I'm sure you can do some things to adjust the size and everything else. I'm not going to go into all those details. But again, that's just showing you how you create your new scenes and how you add things to your scenes. The preferred way is to use a USDZ file that goes into your USDA file, and that's how you can drag and drop different models or download different models into your scenes. So that's my intro to Vision OS to help you get started quickly. I hope this was a helpful video for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.